Welcome to episode number 76 of Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast. I'm Joe Kindick.
I'm Kate the Bluegrass Skeptic. Surprise!
And I'm back, motherfuckers. This is Adam Fusion.
Yeah. I know, we tried to keep him away, guys, but we got him.
What an asshole.
Good to have you back,
man, it's good to be
Some
here.
things don't change.
I'm back up on the show stage. I'm about 15 pounds lighter. I feel better, probably smell better, and I'm just glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you smell better. I
know you were. It's because you always got your nose up in my ass.
Hey, can't help it.
I'm just along as the third wheel, the square clumpity clump third wheel tonight.
We'll take it. I wish we tried to get together prior, the day before, and we had all five of us, and it did not work out well. Too many little errors.
Yeah, and Skype and all that mess, and I guess that'll be
fuck
something.
Skype, too. Yeah. Fuck Pamela, fuck Skype. Gosh.
I just say, like we've already discussed, and I guess we can just say it now, we're going live sometime, probably, I think, just before or after Thanksgiving.
I can't wait. That way everybody will see my fuck-ups directly.
Yes. Adam Fusion Uncensored.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I don't know if we're going to do video because there's some fugly mooks in this group.
Yeah, there really are, man. I can't Skype with y'all on video, man. It's too distracting.
No, it's more of some of us have things to lose as far as things that can happen here.
You've already lost your virginity, Joe. Forget about it, all right?
Not all of it.
Oh, good God.
There's tons of things I haven't tried yet.
Armpit? Really? Okay.
Oh, no, I've done that. No, just kidding. But no, some of us, it's not really me. I'm out in real life, but, Joe isn't really out, if that makes any sense.
Yep. Oh, I'm out and proud. Even on my voicemail on my phone now, it says, you've reached Kate Ashcraft, also known as the Bluegrass Skeptic. I mean, it's out there even on my voicemail. If my boss calls and leaves a message, she has to hear that and look it up.
That's great.
Pretty
but
funny.
I'm not a big secret at work. Most people at work know and just kind of roll with it.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big secret at work either.
Fuck, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it at all. Yeah, I work for a bunch of guys out of Mississippi, man. That didn't work out very well for me.
No, I would not think so.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a little awkward here and there, and ironically, the person that I thought who wouldn't bring it up, and she hasn't really made it an issue, but I can tell it's something that's kind of, I think she's curious. I just kind of recognize curiosity when I see it. And one of my bosses, when I went for my first surgery earlier this year, she had said, no, it was Christmas, the previous Christmas. She goes, well, I know you don't necessarily celebrate Christmas or anything like that, but, I just wanted, and she gave me a gift. And I'm like, oh, it's sweet, it's cute, whatever. And then this past year with my first surgery, she says, well, I know you don't really believe in this kind of thing and whatnot, but I'll pray for the best and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if you know I don't believe, why would you put that out there other than to subconsciously make yourself feel better because you feel like you've got to say something? You can't just say, oh, I hope you recover quickly. You got to throw I'll pray for you in there. So,
well, you know.
Yeah, but in their world that means something.
It does.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
It's for them. I let it ride. I'm cool with it. But it's just funny how she'll mention the fact that she acknowledges that that's not my thing, and then she continues forward. I know you hate this, but I'm going to keep doing
it. Exactly.
Well, I've been running those circumstances myself, and it just seems like more often than not that's just what they're accustomed to doing. And I keep finding myself even saying "bless you" to some asshole who sneezed across the room in the medical center.
Well, I still do that too. That's just habit. We grew up doing that. I mean,
I agree.
it's that's been ingrained. That's a tough one. I try to
well,
take
you
as
got to
many
kind of
times as
apply the
possible.
two together. You really do.
I don't know. See, I personally, and this is me, I apply my standard to how I treat others. And if somebody sneezes, I'm not even going to acknowledge you sneezed, because who wants to have attention be noticed when you've sprayed snot across a room? That's like a disgusting body function. I don't want someone to bless me or acknowledge what I just did. Just like, it's like, what if I had snot hanging out my nose? You know those kind of sneezes where like half your brain matter comes out of your nostril?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't want someone turning to me at that moment saying bless you and seeing this loogie from hell hanging out of my right nostril, you know? It's just like, it didn't happen. Just ignore it. Just kind of like, you know, when you're out in public and an old person farts next to you, don't turn to her and look at her and expect her to say excuse me. Just act like it didn't happen. Just don't look at each other and just go separate ways, right?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you know, you'll run across these instances of maybe you don't feel good, and a friend that you like who is a Christian comes along and says, oh, well, I'll pray for you. And they're not doing it in a condescending way. You got to understand that whenever they're doing it condescendingly, that's whenever they're trying to insult you. Oh, you don't believe in God? Well, then I'll pray for you. Well, that's when you're being condescending to me. But
you know what that's code for, right?
Oh, I know.
It's code for fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Exactly. But at the same time,
that's why I always tell them. I say, "Well, I'll think for you."
Well, you know, but at the same time, I've got to go. Oh, well, I appreciate the condolences, but you know, I'll go see a damn doctor. I'm not going to go into that aspect of it. I'm just going to say thank you, and I appreciate the condolences. But at the same time, you know, you'll run across these people who will be, I don't know, standoffish, whatever. You're having those intimate discussions of religion and faith, and they go, oh, well, I wish you the best, but I pray for you. And then that motherfucker is asking for it. And that's whenever you lay in I'll think for you, or I appreciate what you're saying, but instead of praying for me, pray to your God to reveal himself and his plan to me.
Or you could just say, your God is stupid, your whole life's a fucking lie.
No, that's true, too, but, you know, where does that get you?
No.
That's just to make me feel better.
See, me, I just ask them, why are you trying to subvert my free will when they say, I'll pray for you?
Oh, well, see, they're not going to get that.
No,
logic.
they won't understand that
Some
at all.
of them actually do. They just stop for a minute and they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's just like, why is it Aunt Martha can call in a favor from God to subvert my free will? I bring that up to people, and they back the fuck off quick. They just like, it's like they realize they stepped into what they thought was a mud puddle, and now they're hip deep in a swamp. And they don't want to go any further, and they walk the fuck off, and they never bring it up again. Really, they don't.
Totally stealing that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It works.
Just a heads up.
That's pretty good.
It backs them the fuck off that they don't really go there with you anymore on that level, at least not verbally. They'll think it, but then they'll progress into a different line of discussion instead. And that's what you want, really, is discussion. And part of getting to that point of discussion with people is sometimes, you know, kind of pushing them down that mud puddle and realizing, guys, it's not just a little puddle. You walked right into this. How you gonna get out?
It's not the size of the puddle, it's how you use it.
Yeah, exactly. What is it, a quarter inch of water or a half inch of water you can drown?
Potentially. I mean, it would have to be really difficult. You'd have to inhale that entire inch into your lungs.
Yeah. But they pretty much, that's what they're doing when they say something like, I'll pray for you. It's like, oh, you're going to subvert my will. Really? And they get kind of quiet. You just put it that way. And they're like, what do you mean? Oh, you're going to call in God to blah, blah, blah. Like I was saying, they just don't know where to go with that. They never thought of prayer and praying for someone to have a change of heart as a prayer to subvert will. They never put those two together until you spell it out to them. They really don't get it until you...
I'll be honest, I never thought about it either.
Yeah, I mean, just that's all you gotta do to demonstrate. Really.
Totally stealing that.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice, deep logic problem for them to think about. Like, oh, wait, you know.
You keep using this word think. I don't think they know what that means.
Well, you're going to help them get to that point.
That's my goal.
Yeah, you try to anyway. Every little bit. So anyway, shit, we're on a tangent. It's been a minute.
Oh, we're going to get on a few more tangents, I'm sure.
No, not us. That's not our thing.
Yeah, well,
that.
I've got one to bring up. Just y'all get ready to roll down to the next part of the episode, and we'll go into Adam's bonfire moments from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, sounds like a party.
Shit. What would Adam do again?
Yes, pretty much.
Perfect. All
what
right.
else are we discussing tonight, though?
We'll discuss which one? The crack.com article about how to turn a cult into a religion?
Absolutely.
I think that'd be kind of fun. Because I
think that will be fun.
They've pretty much done that with cargo cults, too, to a degree. They're just not funded like they used to be. But, yeah.
Did you say cargo cults?
Yeah, cargo cults.
Those of us that love cargo shorts?
You wish.
So talk about that. I had an interesting interaction on Facebook I want to bring up. And then...
I'm sure that'll probably wrap us up. No,
that would wrap us up.
I
probably will, after the cult conversation, because your cult knowledge is very, very...
I can't wait.
Extensive is probably the word I should have used instead of very, very good. It's one of those days.
I'm going to go grab
All right,
lube.
kids,
This sounds interesting.
It does. All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Ow. Welcome back to Unbuckling the Bible Belt. This is Adam Fusion with What Would Adam Do?
Dum, dum, dum.
Dum, dum, dum. A few weeks ago, I was around a campfire again. It always seems to happen around the damn campfire. But I get picked on because everybody knows my position. And the question came out to me as to whether or not the Quran was more violent than the Bible. And that was the discussion around the fire. And I kind of remained silent and didn't want to provoke the situation, but they kept pushing and pushing. And I was like, well, yeah, of course the Quran is more violent than the Bible. It had to be.
Well,
and
question? What was the point of this when they were discussing this? Was it one of those discussions where because the Quran, I'm assuming they had probably decided it was more violent, like you said. Is this one of those discussions that because the Quran's more violent, that makes the Bible better? Is it like that kind of attitude going on?
Yeah, it kind of was. It was. That's exactly right.
Two wrongs make a right. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was enjoying the fire. I was enjoying a beer, and I didn't even want to get in this conversation, and they kept egging me on. And I told them, yeah, of course the Quran is more violent than the Bible. Because it had to be.
You can't really say, of course. If you count the flood, it's really not.
Well, my point is that of course it had to be because its claim is that it is the final religion and that it had to be more violent than the Bible. And they didn't like that response at all.
Well, no kidding. You did mention how violent the Bible was, though, right?
Yeah, well, I kept running this situation of, this cafeteria style Christianity of, well, the Bible's not violent at all. Oh, really? Because I could show you in several places where it promotes this, that, and the other. Genocide, rape, infanticide, abortion, or forced abortion, murder, everything, and again, I get thrown off in a left field that, my views don't count because all of a sudden I'm comparing it to the Bible, and they don't like that at all. and they were like, oh, well, you're probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. Oh, yeah? Well, you're definitely wrong. And I got dragged into it. I didn't want to go there, but that's where they went with it. And, the Jews claim that Jesus never met the credentials of being the Messiah, and the Muslims say that the Jesus was not the Son of God, but a prophet of God. And none of them like that at all. So, I might be wrong, but you're definitely wrong from two different standpoints of your own form of religion, and they don't like that shit at all, apparently. So I try to make mediocre off of it, but of course, the Quran is violent, but it had to be, and Yeah, and I even got pushed in. The Bible's more correct than the Quran. Oh yeah, really? Because according to the Quran was divinely delivered to the Prophet Muhammad through the Archangel Gabriel. Now, most of the Bible is written from a man's point of view, and if the Quran is not right, why hasn't Jesus or God presented themselves to say it's wrong, since it's implication? And I ended up getting in a fucking world of shit. It's just nobody likes logic, but that's what it comes down to. You got these three groups: Jews, Muslims, and Christians, all praising to the same God, and all of them want their own point of view proposed to that their way is the correct way.
Lots of Christians don't believe that Allah is the same God. They say no, he's actually a moon god, and they just trying to appropriate their, to make it sound better.
No, that's not true.
I know.
Allah is an air god. They're all praying to the same God.
It's all the same dude.
It's all from the same tribes. I mean, they split apart and they came up with their own version. But really, the version isn't that much different. I mean, Allah technically killed as many people as the God of the Bible because he's the same guy, and they all have the same flood. They have the same flood and everything. The stories are exactly the same. Just the character's name is Nuh, I think, instead of Noah. I mean, seriously. They're identical stories. They have the same flood story, and it was Allah, meaning God in Muslim. You know what I'm saying? It is the same religion.
There are 27 times in the Quran mentions Jesus as a prophet of God, but not the Messiah or the Son of God. That's the same approach that the Jews have. And of course, this is like, it's almost like being in talking politics between Clinton supporters and Trump supporters. This is three-way circle going around. It's just always going around each other. But nobody's laying the facts down to the simple fact that you are all proposed to the same God. And in politics, we're all going for the same damn principle.
Hedonism all day long. Hedonism.
Anarchy.
We'll be so fucking pacified with everything we could want with sex and drugs that we will be too lazy to even fucking care what they're doing to us.
Yeah,
but
no, we don't want that.
That's just a whole nother rant and whatever.
That's a Brave New World, right?
Yeah.
You had me at sex and drugs.
Actually, I was looking more at, like the Iron Heel by Jack London, because that's actually about an oligarchy taking over America and controlling. It's creepy too, because this was written, I think it was like 1908 when he wrote this. So, yeah. Right before the first stock market crash.
I have not read that. I need to jump on that.
Yeah, you should. It's good. It's really good.
I read all the dog books Jack London wrote.
Oh, he wrote a lot of political books. But, yeah, so, I'm sorry. I just totally derailed this conversation.
God.
We were
talking... you did.
But no, so basically, you were catching shit from everybody. Because
from every possible angle, and just discussing the facts of the situation, and they just can't deal with the facts. And I knew they couldn't, which is why I tried to just stay the fuck out of it. So again, by the time I'm done, people are fucking closing up their goddamn coolers and running away because they don't understand what the fuck it is I'm saying, or just disagree with it. They can't even carry on an intelligent conversation about their own fucking faith. And that's what's going on. And it's just like, oh, you're such a damn liberal. I'm not a fucking liberal. Yeah. I love guns. I love fucking guns.
Liberal, Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, I love my guns, and I hate the poor. I fucking hate the poor. I'm saying it right now. I hate the fucking poor. Yeah, drug test them all, and if they fail, take their home away and their food away.
What?
And away from their kids. That's from their kids.
That's ridiculous.
Which is exactly what we do here in this state.
I wasn't sure if you were being facetious or were you just...
Yeah.
Are you being serious or what? I'm lost.
I support the biblical point of weddings and marriage.
But what about this whole
marriage
thing?
should be between a man and a woman, and as many sex slaves as that man can afford.
I think he's being
So
sarcastic.
you're being sarcastic.
He's
about
taking
the
the
whole
piss.
Hating the poor. Okay, good. I was just like,
I mean,
dude,
I hate the poor, but that's a completely different reason. It's just because I grew up.
I'm poor as shit. Hell, shit's got more on me than I do.
I'm sorry for those that might be, that might be upset. I meant concubines.
Not sex slaves.
I didn't want to take things out of context.
No,
Let's not take things out of context.
Moses was okay with sex slaves.
I'm not okay with any slaves.
We shouldn't be okay with slaves at all in this.
So, yeah, I'm conservative on most point of views.
So, I'm lost. Do you hate the poor?
No, he doesn't hate the poor.
I'm being facetious.
Thank you.
But
I'm, like, really confused.
It was hard to tell for a second there. I was like, wait, is he taking a piss? What's he doing?
Well, I'm just saying, here we go. I live in a bunch of Christians in a conservative state that try to promote the Bible as a state book and Jesus as their savior and whatnot. Yeah. And at the same time, they go around and drug testing poor people. And the second that they fail, they take away their house and their food from them and their kids. And that's the state we live in, and we call ourselves Christians. Okay, well, that's exactly okay. All right, I get it.
That is Christianity.
Ta-da!
Until it's applied to them, then they have a fit.
Oh, they don't like that point of view at all. But I point it out to them every fucking time, and it's like I've grown 3 turtles out of my forehead. But
just breathe.
Back on the microphone.
Just breathe. But no, so basically, it sounds like the biggest resistance you got is when you started pointing out the fact that everything that they're saying makes Allah this horrible, vengeful God. You're like, but the Bible...
It's the same fucking God.
And they just didn't know how to fucking process it.
Yes, and even when I tell these people that there's Christians in the Middle East that call God Allah, they lose their fucking minds. They don't understand that aspect of it.
Don't you know all Christians are supposed to call God in English? Yeah, because God is English. He's American.
Well, again,
and his white son Jesus. Everybody knows that.
Like I'm riding up in a fucking unicorn with a bunch of cyanide and Kool-Aid and telling everybody that freaking Hitler rules, and that's all everybody wants to hear around here. It's like,
you know what?
Christ.
You could prove that's biblical, what you just said, because the Bible, according to Ken Ham, does have unicorns in it, and it wasn't out of the ordinary for people to be getting a hold of poison in the Bible. And at one point, Hitler was authority of government, and God said you have to respect your leaders at that time.
That is true.
That whole image was biblical. But anyway.
Yeah, because the Bible says that God doesn't put anybody in power he doesn't want there.
Exactly.
It's in Matthew,
biblical, bitches.
It's biblical, bitches. That should be a new segment on the show. So, Adam, so I guess that you fucked that night up for everybody again. Good job.
Oh, I did. I totally fucked it up for everybody. I always do. We keep getting invited over there less and less. It's great.
Sounds like Adam did what he had to do, and people couldn't handle it, which is not a surprise. It really is.
They brought me into it, man. It's just like, stop pressing me. Stop pressing me. Can't we go in and talk about NASCAR or some Budweiser or some bullshit? No, they want to bring up God in front of me every fucking time.
That's okay, though, because you know what? You know at least a couple of those people went home to look up that shit to try and prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Which means you planted some seeds.
I had 3 of them. There's no support for abortion in the Bible.
Moses dust off the floor. It's biblical, bitches.
Really? Well, thank you for proving to me that you never read the motherfucker. Now, when your Bible assignment tomorrow morning, which would be Sunday after our Saturday night bonfire drunk fest, is to go look up the Numbers chapter 5. And even then, it's just like, I don't understand what you're talking about. That's abortion. That's not abortion.
No, that's a test for fidelity. That's what. That's a
test for infidelity. Yeah, that's a man's right to tell for his woman to oh God, I can't even be that stupid.
Yeah,
I can't even be that stupid.
When they bring up that apologetic about this is just testing if this is this guy's child or not. Basically, though, God still was greenlighting because abortion is abortion, whether that's that dude's baby or not. If that baby is killed because it was not his child, that was still abortion performed by God
Exactly. So, it's forced abortion on a woman.
Yeah.
And they're fine with that. They'll be just perfectly fine with that. But if a woman decides to make that choice for herself, that's fucking wrong, especially this day and age. And, oh, God, let me get my fucking hypocritical pipe out, man, because I need to take a toke off of this. Oh.
Well, sounds like you handled it the best you could. And just keep doing what you're doing because some people, they just got to argue. And because they want to argue, they're going to start looking this stuff up and they're going to start reading things that they didn't expect.
That's what I hope from the whole aspect. Yeah. That's all I can hope from. You know, well, I don't trust an atheist. Really? You don't trust people who don't lie to kids?
Yes, I do not trust people that don't lie to kids.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, it's just, oh, God. Oh, mercy. It's almost too much down here sometimes, you know.
Sometimes you just want to reach in your cooler and pull out a pre-made, listed, laminated FAQ.
Yeah, here's like, ask questions for you.
Like, before we go there, guys, read this shit first, and then let me know if you got questions later. You know?
Yeah. It's like, here, read this book, read it from cover to cover, and come back to me. I asked her while I was, oh God, I'll go back up a little bit. While I was in this, I did just place it back onto him a little bit whenever I pulled out Numbers chapter 5. And they were like, oh, well, what does it say? Tell us, Mr. Smart Man, what Numbers chapter 5 says. And I turned it around on him. I said, well, why don't you go get your Bible and read it to me?
Yeah.
Since you're such a strong Christian. And, oh, well, no, we're here by the campfire. You brought this up. No, I didn't bring this up. You brought this up to me. and I'm caught in this goddamn whirlwind of I can't fucking get the fuck out of. And I'm just trying to sit here and enjoy the fire and drink my goddamn beer.
How many of these people had a cell phone on them?
Oh, we were out in the country where cell phone does not pick up a lot.
It doesn't matter. Any good God-fearing Christian that owns a cell phone knows that they can download the entire Bible to their phone without needing internet access at any time.
Well,
really?
Yeah, you can. I know. I've got the Quran, the Bible, and several of the whatever those Hindu ones are. Yeah.
The Bhagavad was it the Bhagavad Gita or whatever it is?
Yeah, the Bhagavad. I always want to sing that song.
Inagata Davida?
Yeah, that's what I think of.
I did that every time.
I got that on hand, not the song, but the Hindu books. So I know that's not their names, but I've got them.
How do you pronounce that? Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
Damn it! It's like BHA something.
It's stupid. It's blah, 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 Ida.
I had to study that in my world religion. The Bhagavad Gita. That's what it is. The Bhagavad Gita, not Vita.
Something like that. Yeah. I just thought.
Is that a chocolate?
God. No, but I'm sure they got a ceremony forced chocolate in there somewhere.
They probably do.
Chocolate rules, man.
Not a big fan.
Chocolate gets me laid.
Oh,
chocolate gets all of us laid, really.
Really?
Not really. Yeah. I mean, if you eat chocolate, it's the same. It stimulates the same neuroreceptors as having an orgasm. So really, you can replace sex with chocolate. So really,
now wait a minute. You're talking about chocolates infused with mushrooms.
Oh, am I?
My body's broken. My body must be so broken then. That's never worked for me ever. I think that's still... Whatever women... They must have been like in East L.A. and have some spiritual healer or something that they took a poll of amongst women.
David Wolf. No, that's a scientific thing.
But it doesn't work on me. What the hell?
Well, not everyone's the same. You do realize that, right?
I know.
It doesn't work on me either. I want to have sex regardless of how much chocolate. Like... You could force feed me chocolate and I still want to have sex.
Yeah. Uh-huh. All right, well, let's get on to the next segment. What do you guys say?
No. We're talking about chocolate sex. It's time to go.
Yeah, I'm getting turned on. What the fuck are you saying?
See, chocolate sex to me is code for anal, so...
Oh, now I'm really turned on.
I'm just asking. I hear chocolate sex, I'm thinking chocolate top, so...
I feel you.
Welcome back. This is sexual chocolate.
Yeah, somehow we got to that from talking about a campfire argument over who's more deadly. Allah
and it wasn't even
God.
me. It wasn't even me this time.
That boy's good.
Yeah. All right, let's call it.
Right. Yeah.
All right, joining me is Thomas Smith of Thomas in the Bible, Atheistically Speaking, Comedy Shoeshine, and most recently Opening Arguments, which might be my favorite, which is mean because I really like Atheistically Speaking. I think it's a cool show. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I love when people tell me which of my shows they like and don't like. That's always fun. It's like going up and telling someone their kids, like, "Yeah, I like this kid of yours, but I'm not a fan of that other one." But anyway. No, I'm just teasing.
The new kids might be a favorite.
I get it. I do too many podcasts for somebody to be able to enjoy all of them, even including myself. I don't.
How do you find time? I mean, that's what I really want to know.
I'm maxed out right now. It's very difficult, but
because you have a real job.
I do.
Right?
I do. I'm working on no longer having a real job. I should be able to within a year at the latest, so that'll help. But yeah, it's been tough. It's been a lot of work.
Sleep when you're dead, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. I really just wanted to see where you're going with things because I know you just finished the Bible on Thomas in the Bible. So are you going to do Apocrypha? You're going to go Quran? You're going to do Book of Mormon?
Yeah, next week I'm tackling. I put it up to the listeners and the patron and all that, and the winner of I had several options. I did have the Quran. I did have the Book of Mormon. All that. I put in a joke option of start the Bible over again. That got a few votes. but the overwhelming impulse that I think everybody shared was to do the books, some books that didn't make the Bible, and so that'll be interesting. That's going to be what I'm on to next.
Awesome.
It'll be hard. I have to try to determine how I want to break that down, like which ones I want to do, how much I want to read in an episode. A bunch of stuff I didn't really realize until I started getting toward the end of the show. I was like, whoa, this is going to be a whole different experience. But hoping it'll be fun. I'm hoping it'll be funny still. Well, I'll do best.
Well, that's all we can ask. So we were just speaking about Opening Arguments is your newest baby. Do you feel that... Well, I thought it was a fantastic move. I mean, I guess you just had Andrew on and decided, hey, this is awesome. We should keep doing this. Is that?
Are you asking how it came to be?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think the first thing that happened was Andrew Facebook messaged me a long time ago about a legal issue. Something that I had said where he's like, hey, you might have gotten this wrong or whatever it was. And he's like, if you ever need a lawyer, let me know. Not personally, but like if you ever need a lawyer on the show to talk about any of this stuff, let me know. And I said, that's a good idea. I'll keep that in mind. And then sometime later, I don't even remember what the first thing that came up, but it might have been Scalia. I don't know. Some topic later, I was like, I want to talk to him. I had him on the show. He was just a wealth of information. And it was really cool. People really liked it. And then I had him on again. I had him on like a couple more times. And people kept saying, like, you should start a show, start a podcast with him, start a podcast. And as you've heard, I have too many podcasts. So I was never going to initiate that merely out of being too busy. But I had decided, and I think I've told Andrew this, but I don't remember. I had decided that if he asked me to do it, I was going to do it. But only then. Like, I wasn't going to initiate the idea. I wasn't, because I've just got too much to do. And eventually he's like, hey, so let's start a podcast. And I was like, oh, wait, is this first show?
No, you can drop all your F-bombs or whatever you'd like.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, fuck, he asked me, so I had to do it. I was like, fine, I'll do it. let's start a podcast. And it was,
God curses.
yeah, it was an incredible amount of work. I nearly died trying to launch that thing. Like I was working around the clock just trying to get it all launched. And we tried to launch with like extra episodes and stuff. And, but it's, I can't tell you how worthwhile it has been. Because Andrew's great and the show is great. I think I can say that because it's mainly him. It's not me. And it's just information that people want. Like I've never had in my other shows. I mean, I get emails, I get comments, whatever. But in this show, it's just person after person is emailing their questions like, oh, I want to know this. I need to know this. I need to know this. The inbox is crazy. Like people just really want his expertise. And it's perfect. And I'm glad that he'll correct major kind of misconceptions about stuff that's in the news or lots of things, and it's just real. I'm glad to be to be helping get more accurate information out into the world. You know.
Yeah, he's super knowledgeable, and I love hearing him talk. It's really good.
Yeah.
And you guys play really well off each other.
Oh, thanks.
Because you ask questions. You ask questions I wouldn't think to ask. You know, like honestly. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, but just like I like the way you think.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I suppose that would definitely be my goal, and I'm glad to hear that. That makes me really feel like maybe I'm offering something to the show. We'll see. I'll go tell Andrew that. Hey, I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So there's one guy out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I get that in writing? Can I get it? Yeah.
Get it notarized for you. Make it legal. Where did you guys come up with the name? I mean.
Oh, first. You know, I think I did. As bad as I am at naming things, because Thomas and the Bible, not very good. Connie Shoeshine is a hilarious inside joke, so that's fine. I don't count that. That's a wash. And atheistically speaking, I'm not the best at naming things, but that one I do feel pretty good about. Like everyone kept saying, hey, start a podcast, call it Legally Speaking a million times. And we looked it up, and there's like several things called Legally Speaking. So we're kind of like, well, let's try to find something that nobody else is using. And we had some good ideas. I know actually Andrew's son came up with some good ideas. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but it was fun because we had everybody brainstorming, and I don't know. Eventually, I thought of opening arguments somehow. It just popped into my brain. I was like, it's perfect because a bit of a double meaning. Mm-hmm. And it was just good enough. I was like, yeah, that's a good name. It's I don't know. I'm probably more pleased with it than anything else I've ever named, except my cats.
Nice. No, it's funny. It's like I was listening to NPR and they're talking about opening arguments today. I went, damn it. That's all I think.
Like they're talking about actual opening arguments.
Actual case, exactly. Yeah. That was pretty funny because the first thing I thought of. That it's funny how like
I thought they were actually talking about us for a sec. I was gonna get excited.
No. You guys aren't there yet. You could be though. You guys could probably be there.
Hey, Sam Harris tweeted us. So
yeah, I know that was pretty sweet.
It was.
I actually pimped you guys to. We had a lawyer on our show a couple months back, a local guy here, and I think the question was about. It was right after Scalia, and some of his stuff, and. We thought about having like a weekly segment with him, and then it just, the lawyers are so busy.
Yeah, true. That's, I think, part of being able to do this, I think, was for Andrew, and he could talk a lot better about it, obviously, his personal story. And one day I actually want to do an episode on it because he's mentioned it, but he left kind of the big law firm life, because it was really rough, and he has a lot of terrible stories about it. Sure, he was making a lot of money, but he had no life. He had no, just a lot of stuff like that. And he decided to open his own firm and start his own firm. And I think that's what's given him the time. So he's still a busy guy, but he's a little more in control of his time than he would have been otherwise. And so I think that's if it weren't for that, I don't think he ever would have been able to do the show. So.
It's always harder when you're working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And they make you they work you a lot at those firms, so I'm told. And so it'll be interesting if I ever get to record an episode of that with him on opening arguments, because. Oh, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh,
can you hear me?
I hope you edit. Sorry, I think my sound just went all wonky.
Oh yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Do you got an edit?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay, got it.
I'll be.
But it's really interesting to hear about some of the crazier things that have happened when he was in that firm. And I think that'll make a good episode one day. But yeah, that's why he can do it.
Nice. I think I think like the concept is really, really cool, and especially with us being atheists and a lot of stuff that pertains to us, First Amendment kind of stuff, and like basically we usually just have Andrew Slidell is like the guy, and then it's nice having Andrew Torres to with you explaining stuff that you wouldn't think, like you'd be the Supreme Court episode. Yeah, thank you. Blanked out like an idiot there. That was awesome.
That's okay.
But that part is really neat because there's like a thing going on in Oklahoma right now where the Catholics are trying to get money from the state to help pay for their schools and to help the Catholic programs. I'm like, dude, you already get money from the state because you don't pay any freaking taxes.
Yeah. Hey, well, send your questions to Open Arguments or whatever. I can't remember the Gmail. We weren't able to get the same thing for everything. Yeah, anyway. openarguments@gmail. Send your legal questions to Andrew Torres there.
Excellent. That's really cool. So, so you're planning on getting out of your real job and podcasting full-time within a year, correct?
Yeah, it's crazy. Scary for sure, but it's definitely getting to that point, and I want to be able to have time to do a better job and make better stuff, and and also maybe have a life of some kind. Currently, I don't have that part. Currently, work has taken over my entire life, so it would be probably be in the best interest of my life and life's best interest that I someday have more time. So that'll help that a lot.
More time for yard work, man.
Yeah, fortunately I don't. I solved that by not really having a yard. There's got a little bit of a yard in our house, but not much. So I avoided the having to do that.
Condo, but the wife's like, no, let's get a house. Oh, fine.
Maintenance.
That's not bad.
Yeah. We definitely do have a lot of projects scheduled for when I quit that I'm going to be able to do, but hopefully, yeah, I'll have time for lots of stuff.
You have so many podcasts. Was that a plan, or it just kept building? Like, oh, well, I want to do this one day, and I want to do this one day.
Okay, I can tell you the plan. So, I started off with Thomas and the Bible. I'm sure I don't know, you're probably familiar, but I just decided to read the Bible, and it was back kind of. Podcasts were still pretty new back in 2010. Like, obviously they were around, but they weren't huge yet. And I was just like, I'm just gonna do this. And I'll do a podcast, and if people want to listen, fine. If not, like I did it with a mindset that like nobody's going to listen to this, but maybe in 1,000 years, archaeologists will dig it up and be like, wow, this guy had way too much time on his hands to read this terrible book that we all know now is a completely fake piece of garbage. But anyway, and that will be depressing for somebody in the future. So that was my original intent, and then and then I think what happened then I wanted to just start recording kind of a comedy show with my brother, because that's truly the only podcast of mine that isn't work, because I love doing it so much, is Comedy Shoe Shine. Now, I love doing my podcast, but there's a lot of work involved. And so they take time, they take editing, they take a lot of stuff. But Comedy Shoe Shine, which originally was called F This Podcast, is just really fun. It's just, we just get on, we keep kind of comedy notes throughout the week, and we just riff on stuff, and it's my favorite one. And so I did that, but then eventually I wanted to start talking about broader atheism issues and not have to just talk about the Bible, which is, a boring piece of garbage. So I was like, I think I want to start another show. And I actually, at the time, I had a friend that I started it with, but that he wasn't able to continue. He was too busy, and it just got to be too hard to keep up. So I took over it myself, and the point was to talk about issues that people disagree with each other, like that atheists would disagree with each other on, like stuff that I got tired of. I get bored by agreeing and by talking about stuff we all know, unless it's, insulting Trump a little bit more. That I can
Yeah,
get
that.
behind. Like I can, yeah, like I have patience for that and talking about just how awful he is. But I don't know. For the most part, I get kind of bored talking about stuff I agree with people on. So it's more fun to talk about stuff we disagree, and that was kind of the goal. Just any issues that atheists might disagree with each other. Sort of a meta show, you know. And I've more or less stayed true to that. I would say nowadays I'm really trying to talk science a lot more and like learn a lot. Like I just want to find guests that teach me something, you know, or teach us something. And, I think I've done so. It's kind of a mix of those things, and then I also, you know, we'll talk about things relevant to the movement or at least inter-atheism issues or anything like that. But also, I don't. Abortion, for example, like there's secular pro-lifers. There's all these issues where even among atheists people disagree, and so it's fun to talk about them. But
mythicism thing was, I hate saying that word, mythicism.
Oh yeah,
that was really neat.
Yeah, that's one for sure. That's one where I disagree with a lot of atheists, and I it's not because it's just because I don't think I'm good at history at all, and I'm gonna trust historical consensus for the most part. But it's pretty amazing how many atheists are mythicists. I think they just would prefer Jesus not exist for some reason, maybe because I don't know, maybe it's because it's like funnier.
It's easier to
it's more insult to Christianity. But no, I mean, I'm sure I know there's arguments, and I don't mean to make light of people who recognize those arguments and stuff, but I don't personally find them compelling. So, but it's a good thing to talk about, and I've got people on either side of it, and I think I'll probably still do a few more shows on it eventually.
Being that you try to do opposite, I wouldn't say contrarian views sometimes, but do you get like a lot of hate mail or just a lot of? I remember after the Eli episode, I'm sure you got some shit from that one.
Yeah, I would say hate mail goes from like 0 to infinite when Eli comes on. He brings out the best in people. I don't get a lot of hate mail. I do get a lot of disagreement. I get plenty of people saying like, "Nah, you're wrong about this" or whatever, and it's definitely it's difficult, you know. It's difficult to do a show and talk, especially when I do all commentary ones. Those ones I like doing them because I just have opinions and I want to share them and see if they stand up to scrutiny. So I do like doing them, but they are probably the least enjoyable ones to do. A, because it's just me talking, and it's, who cares about that? But also, it's stressful. I post it, and then immediately I'm waiting for the people to be like, "Oh man, you totally fucked this up," or "You got this totally wrong," like just right away. And it sucks. You kind of have to. I had to learn to deal with it. It's not easy. To have people point out where you're wrong. Like nobody likes that, and it's hard. But my listeners have been pretty good. I mean, they're nice. They're opinionated, and sure they'll tell me I'm wrong on stuff. But I like my listeners. They're able to usually do it in a way that doesn't make me feel too shitty for getting something wrong.
Yeah, there's a difference between constructive criticism and being an asshole, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure how to do the constructive criticism part, but my asshole part is really good.
That's the part you're more familiar with.
Yeah, it's in the name. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're busy.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Get back to making awesome podcasts.
I'll leave it to anyone else to decide if they're awesome, but yeah, making podcasts is about all I have time to do. Got to get back to it.
Oh, man, it's insane. I couldn't imagine. But
yep.
I do appreciate you coming on. Anyone who doesn't know who Thomas Smith is, seriously, fuck off. He's got 4 pretty amazing podcasts, and check them out. They're Atheistically Speaking, Comedy Shoeshine, Thomas in the Bible, soon to be Thomas in the other books, and Opening Arguments, his newest, which is really, really cool. I'm a big fan.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Cool.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day, man.
You too.
And I'll let you know. I'll tag you when the episode comes out. Hopefully
please
it'll be
do,
Wednesday, assuming I get it all edited and shit. So
nice. Yeah, I'll throw it on the social media and whatnot.
Appreciate it, bro. Have a good one.
No problem. Yeah, good luck with your yard work.
Thanks. It's been a blast.
See ya.
See ya.
Welcome back. This is Adam Fusen, and we're going to go into a specific cult religion of some friends of mine who I'm trying to interview online. One of these people shared this story and mentioned that they were a part of this Christian organization, which is kind of a cult, whatever, that type of thing. But she did mention I've been trying to get her to come in and do an interview online. But what struck me the most is that this sounded like a Jehovah's Witness organization, in the fact that in her first entire 18 years of her life, she never celebrated a birthday. They never celebrated Halloween. They didn't celebrate any 4th of July gatherings, anything that didn't had to go around God. And anything else that was beside that was sacrilegious. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that religion right now. And I shared that with the guys, and we're going to talk about that here tonight.
I thought it was interesting how how a cult goes to being a religion. When I had my world religions course, and the first question the teacher asked was just between a cult and a religion, and I said spelling, and he thought that was kind of humorous. The class didn't so much, but I think it's interesting. I mean, I guess technically every religion is a cult. If you want to get super technical about it, I guess you could probably say that. But it's really fascinating how he took this little group into this giant money-making endeavor, which is pretty impressive. Which is, I mean, L. Ron Hubbard's done it, and everybody else has done it too.
Yeah. And I think Scientology really epitomizes how it goes from cult to world church level. And ironically, I think it's gone to its cultish roots in the way it recruits people and inspires people. Because L. Ron Hubbard is the god. He's the figurehead you aspire to be.
Yes, he is.
Even though technically, when you're looking at their different levels, you don't have to believe in God in Scientology.
Well, folks, this article was on crack.com, and you can probably just Google in crack.com and go to Worldwide Church of God, and you'll pick up this story. And it starts out about, the 6 differences about the 6 things you learn living in a killing a cult. But what's the difference between a religion and a cult? I've heard several different instances.
The only difference is time.
Oh, well, I've heard that the only difference is the amount of property they own.
I heard it was 100 years. That's what my teacher said. It was about 100 years. The difference between a cult and
I guess that's what needs to be understood. You have to look at where the word cult came from. And that's why I say time. Because the word cult, when they first came up with this, Latin, it was just worship. Everything was a cult. They didn't use the word religion. God, it just meant to worship. But then they started putting these more negative connotations to it. I mean, really, the word cult nowadays, it's only a pejorative. There's nothing, it's not really even a term used by psychologists anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes like a synopsis with Waco, Texas, and what happened there, a couple decades ago. But at the same time, really, what is the difference between a cult and religion?
Money.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah. Money. I know, it's ultimately money and politics. Behind any movement. Religion is ultimately a social where you're from. Like when they say, oh, if you were born in Saudi Arabia, you most likely be Muslim, and that is very true. So really, that's what it comes down to, is the politics and money is what determines a cult. It's like I was telling Joe the other day, cults, we're really not using the right term here. They don't even use the word cult anymore, but people just tend to recognize that meaning the extremist religious groups. Either way, they're all established religion. But the bottom line is that the only difference between them is just the motivation and the money behind it. And it's like the American Idol contest of beliefs. Some are going to win that ticket and get the contract, and some aren't, and they're going to go into obscurity.
Well, I understand what you're saying there, but at the same time, the religious people, especially down here in the South, assault anything with the word cult to be a satanic organization.
Of course. But they also would call Westboro a cult.
Very true.
They would also call ISIS a cult.
Yep.
Seventh-day Adventists, cult. Pentecostalism, that's cultism, if you want to be throwing that word around.
Absolutely.
That's just what it is. I mean, it's a pejorative. It's a way to make other denominations less than the one you're a member of. That's what the word cult is for, ultimately.
I mean,
just going around saying, "Oh, Halloween's is a cult organization," or that's a pagan holiday. But at the same time, you got the same people turning around and saying, "Oh, well, you should celebrate Christmas because it's a religious holiday." Well, technically, it's not. Most religious scholars would agree that friggin' Jesus was born in September, but
I thought it was June.
Maybe so. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Depends on which Israeli archaeologist you're talking to.
Christmas is a completely pagan holiday. It's the winter solstice, and the trees are pagan. The Yule log is pagan. The presents, I think that's pagan also. But that's what But that's what, if you co-opt an area,
well, I don't know why
you
they
convert people to your religion. I mean, that's what Constantine did. That's how Christianity got big to begin with. He's like, hey, look at... No, I was just going to say, if you look at... He's like, hey, this is working out. I can get everybody, united under this one thing, and then game on.
Yeah, I mean, they had to hold on to some of the aspirations, and that is... I'm sorry, religion is politics. They act like there should be a separation of church and state. The problem is... religion is a form of state. It's just not one that's recognized by the actual governing state. It's like this whole Sharia law business. Really, any religion that has its own set-up rules, it's a form of Sharia. Okay? It's a godly law that goes up and above the realm of man, which defies what's at least in Christian holy books, because the Christian holy book says, follow the laws of your land, respect those folks, and give it to Caesar what is Caesar's. You have your own laws and rules.
Except for goddamn Obama. Except for Obama, he's a Muslim.
Because Halloween's actually a Christian holiday, and that's something I never understood. Day. Yeah, and it's All Hallows Day is what it is. And yeah, they recognize saints, martyrs, and the faithfully departed. I don't get why my parents were against it. And that just shows the intersect of, oh, no, we're not, this is the whole less than thing again. Oh, well, if they were real Christians, they wouldn't celebrate that holiday because they see it as idol worship and idolatry because you're dressing up in costume and all this other stuff, and having fun. I know, I was one of those kids. I did not get to celebrate Halloween. Well, I did. My last time I went, I was 3 or 4 years old because I remember the costume I wore. And that was it. If there was a parade, I was not allowed to look out the window and even observe the parade going by, because it'd be a bad, evil influence. We sat in the dark for 2 hours with the lights off and ignored people knocking on the door for candy.
Well, the good news is religion doesn't harm anybody, so that's good. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Right, and I mean, Christmas, this is where it's really fucked up. I left out cookies and milk for Santa Dad. I got gifts from Santa Dad. I shit you not. This is what my parents did. But you know what's really messed up? Easter? I got to go on Easter egg hunts. Dad, no Halloween, but I could go get Easter shit, and they would always give me cool shit for Easter.
That's just weird.
No logic.
No.
just because, just because. No reason.
Well, I mean, that's a great reason for things, just because.
Some serious fucking hell if I wasn't allowed to take my goddamn friends down to Showbiz Pizza on my fucking birthday. I'm telling you, that's just the most ridiculous goddamn thing I've ever heard of. Fuck y'all. Go and enjoy your kid's birthday. It only happens once a damn year. They only get about 80 of them in their own fucking lifetime. Let them go out and have their fucking day. Oh, you don't think it's good because they're not praising Jesus? Fuck Jesus. All right, come on, man. Your kid's alive. It's there. Go celebrate your kid's life. Celebrate his life. You want to go and say, oh, we shouldn't do that because some Bronze Age Middle Eastern mythology says we shouldn't do that. Kiss my fucking ass. Give me a Harry Potter's wand and we'll have a goddamn party.
But no, this cult, though, in this article on crack, though, they went the further. They were also, medical intervention.
Yep. Only in the case of
like a
natural.
disease,
Yeah. If you had an accident, like you broke your leg.
I understand. Yeah, that's messed
crazy.
up too.
Wouldn't have God caused the accident? I mean, that's.
I checked. I mean, to say, oh, well, we have an exception for a broken leg.
Yeah.
That's like subverting God's will. I don't understand.
Yeah, if you broke your arm, that was your fault on your breaking your arm. But if you need a medical blood transfusion, you're going against God's will at that point. But you're not against setting that bone that if you don't set will cause an infection and cause gangrene, and all of a sudden your arm would have to be amputated. And if you didn't amputate it, you would end up dying in the next step anyway because the gangrene would get into your heart. For some reason, that's acceptable. I just don't get it.
Well, dying is. I mean, that actually kind of makes sense if you believe like going to heaven is the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
So you dying would be ideal.
Yeah, but why go get the medical assistance for a broken bone and not go get a blood transfusion to fix your disease and or whatever autoimmune problem you're having?
And no one says it had to make sense, man.
What? To you it doesn't.
None of this has to make sense.